All right, so the previous video I showed the difference between RAMA and BFIs, right? And I was talking about the carriage and the BFI not being square and stuff in a ride. The same thing happens in RAMA. You got two screws here, right? So this screw will push this thing, the top of it, forward and backward. The bottom will do the opposite, right? So if you've got this really tight and this really loose, it'll go like this, right? If you have the top really loose and the bottom really tight, it'll go like this. So when you're tightening your belts on RAMAs, in order to get it perpendicular, because now based on your graphs look great for the belt shaper. But if you start adjusting this guy to bring it, I think yours are riding, this is out, so you're riding like this. If you start tightening this guy, it's gonna start coming in like this, which is gonna change the tension of your belts. So how do I tension RAMA or BFI, right? It applies equally to both. What you do is you're going to, just imagine this whole thing is completely loose, right? You're going to snug both of these up so that it's initially perpendicular, and you just take the slack. All you want to do is take the slack. You don't actually want to feel any tension on the belt. You're going to do it for both sides, right? I'm going to reference one side, but you'll do it for both. So what you do is you do your half turn. So I start here. I got 4 screws, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You start on the first screw, and you just give it a half turn, right? So just a half turn. Then you go over here, you give this a half turn. And then what you do is you pick up the slack on this one. It should be a half turn, right? And then you pick up the slack on the bottom, half turn. Then you go back up here, half turn, pick up the slack, half turn, pick up the slack, half turn. And while you're doing that, you want to look at this thing here, and you want to make sure that the gap on top is the same as the gap on the bottom. Because as I stated in the other video, RAMAs are not going to eat your belts as quickly as BFI will. But what will happen is these little nubs here, in here, will ride on the bottom of the belt or the top of the belt, and they will slowly chew the bottom of the belt. Also, if it's riding on that, it's going to throw off things. Your belts look great, your wire looks great, so I don't think it's really affecting you too much. But that's what I would do. And then once you get the top, right, you've done all this stuff, you've gone all the way over, and you're getting the proper tension on this belt, right? Then what you do is you double check and make sure you're still perpendicular. If you need to, you give this a half, a quarter, eighth, 16th, however you need to break it up. But whatever you do on one side, you do on the other so that you can get the tensions the same. Now,